Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions. Today we're discussing a lovely evolution of Stefan Kudoke's most popular design language. Stefan Kudoke, of course, was once the type to create Baroque, outlandish, highly idiosyncratic engraved and skeletonized styles of watch, and it wasn't until the Kudoke 1 that he really branched out to styles that could appeal to the mainstream of watch collectors. This is not so much a variation on a theme as a homage in that format to vintage English pocket watches, which is a really cool idea for a German-made wristwatch. So the Kudoke 3 is a 2023 debut from Stefan. It's in steel, 39 millimeters in diameter, 12.7 millimeters thick, 46.1 from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, where you can see it fits well. Now this strap is very substantial, has not been broken in, and is therefore very stiff, so I have to pull it tight to make the watch cinch down to my wrist. I would say you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference, and I would categorize it as unisex in that regard. Although it has a bit of a sheer case flank, it does have a triple-stepped and sloped bezel. It's not that thick at under 13 millimeters, so it should slide underneath the cuff. Taking a quick look at the strap itself, my goodness, they don't short you the material. It's very thick cut, large rectangular scale alligator leather. You can see it's got a little bit of a matte finish with semi-gloss shining through, a monotone stitch, a lot of bolstering or stuffing to give it volume. It's got a sheer cut edge with lacquer for refinement. And then you can see it is handcrafted in Germany with calfskin on the bottom, no crimping, no gouging, a brand new Stefan Kudoke strap. We have here a simple steel pin buckle to match. Rolling around to the case, it is, well, also simple, understated, Teutonic reserve, you might say. Blended lugs meld in the case band, Portuguese or in Calatrava style. There's a little bit of, I guess you could say, a styling flourish, in that the mid-case is defined by the overlapping flange, the case back, and the bezel. And then we have multiple gadroons, or these sort of undulated domed profiles on the bezel. We have this vintage-inspired, almost chrono-Swiss-like onion-style pocket watch-inspired crown. And indeed, it is pocket watches to which we are paying homage here. Note the combination of polish and media blast. And then the dial, which is the part that is directly inspired by those great English pocket watches, specifically those that had unconventional displays of time. So there is a lot going on this dial. You can see that we've got this remarkable upper dial that features a rhodium plate and then a media blast, and then we have these lower scales. There's a tri-spoke that allows you to read the hours, and so this features diamond cut bevels, and you can see how beautifully bright and sharp those diamond cut bevels are. The hands are all fired blue steel, none of that nasty chemical dye here. And so the way this works is each one of the tri-spokes traces a different scale on the dial. Now, we've seen this before on various watches, both very antique and recent, but it is a great way to animate what is really a very simple two-hand hour-minute dial. You can also see the different textures, tones, finishes, focal planes here. It's an interesting thing to look at. Even the style of the hand, which has a Mobius strip as its anchor. You see around the cannon pinion and then around the counterweight. It's got that Mobius strip there, but the design of the hands is anything but generic. We have the nameplate with satin and lacquer. Then we have this track outboard, which includes visible polished fixing hardware, which I love. Take a look at the dial from this side. You can see there are posts that hold that minute scale outboard. Really cool look. Now, remember that little Mobius strip there, because you can see it again on the case back. It is freehand engraved into the balance cock, flanking the fixing screw. So Stefan Kudoke, he uses a movement that is based on the Habring A11, which is itself sort of a Valjoux 7750 that's been torn down to its bare essence, with the calendar system, the chronograph, and the automatic winding mechanism removed, which is why if you look at the train of this 3/4 plate, it has the exact same train from the crown wheel all the way down to the escapement as a 7750 with all the gear removed. Now, there's a lot going on this case back, so let's start from the outside and work our way in. First, note that there's frosting within all of these characters. Those could easily just be drill marks, but a decision was made that they should not be, and so that frosted finish is applied, and I love that. Second, let's take a look at this little nameplate here. You can clearly see that it's been freehand engraved, and so all of that done without any kind of laser or drill or lathe. There's also polishing on the side, satin on the top, and polished screws. We also have a double solarization for the ratchet wheel atop the barrel, satination for the crown wheel. You could see satination and then mirrored beveling on the edge of this lovely and very elaborate click. A lovely blasted profile to mat out the bridge, and then a beautiful mirrored chamfer on the edge of it. You can see the same treatment on the edge of the balance cock. And this is true freehand engraving. And when you're working at a smaller scale like Stefan, the engraving can be a little bit more elaborate than what you find on a Langa at a company that's making thousands of watches per year. Kif shock protection is used, which is, I suppose, an upgrade that the Hobrings must have made, because I know that the 7750 generally uses Inca block. 4 hertz beat rate, the underlying hacking function is retained, even though the watch does not have a seconds hand. Taking a look at the balance, if you look, it's a very high quality balance, characteristic of top and chronometer grade movements. So whenever you see those splayed spokes as opposed to straight spokes, you know you're looking at a better balance there. And it's got a conventional mobile stud index with a micrometric triovis-like adjustment at one end, and then curb pins for timing adjustments. And all of this manual wind has a power reserve of 46 hours. They call this the Caliber 1, and since we are in Deutschland, that is caliber with a K, and it all has 18 pivot jewels. All of this is just really, 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 really cool, and a very wearable watch. It's not easy to get into independent watchmaking for a reasonable amount of money. Harder still to get a genuinely handcrafted watch inside and out for that kind of money from an indie brand. Not a micro brand. I think that's almost a pejorative these days. This is an indie that needs to be discussed with comparably accomplished watchmakers from the haute horlogerie segment, because Kudoke is definitely that. He simply chooses to work in a more affordable and simple paradigm. The watch has a degree of water resistance. I don't recommend you swim with it. It's 30 meters, so rain and splash only. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.